Democratic member of the Texas House of Representatives, Ann Johnson, joins me now. Ann, I'm sorry to impose that mini essay upon you, but give me the latest. Give me the latest from your perspective on where this standoff is, when, if ever, Democrats will return to Texas, and how this might be resolved.
You're seeing Texas Republicans take that partisan extremism to its furthest point. Just yesterday, one of my colleagues said they are doing this simply because they can, not because it's the will of the Texas people or anything that any of us want, but they are doing it purely for political, partisan, Republican motives. They are doing it to help Trump. As you know, last year, North Carolina, they had him steal 4 seats. He has now passed his big, ugly bill by one vote. He is deathly afraid of the voters and unable to run on a policy because the policies he's inflicting on Texans and Americans every day is bad. And so he has now asked Texas to steal him 5 seats to rig the outcome of the next November 2026 election. And as Democrats, we are not willing to stand for it.
When are you going to come back to the state?
Well, our goal here is to defeat this particular special session. And as you know, the governor calls it for 30 days. And so we have towards the end of August to finish out this session. And then at that point, everything resets. And you go back to Governor Abbott. What do you want to do? What do you want us to talk about? And special sessions are supposed to be just that, special. They're not supposed to be overtime plays for purely partisan gifts. It's supposed to be addressing things like flooding or human trafficking or any other crisis that affects everyday Texans. But that's not what my colleagues did. We have been there for 2 weeks. In the middle of any other crisis that's happening, there was one bill they put forward, and that's a redistricting bill for Trump. And so when we defeat this session, it will be up to Governor Abbott to determine if he wants to call us back and what's his priority. Does he want us to talk about the issues important to the people of Texas, or does he again want to give Trump the gift of stealing 5 congressional seats before the next election?
There is no such thing as a brief bomb scare. Whenever it lasts, it's traumatic to anyone involved. And a building was evacuated in Illinois where many Texas Democrats were. Do you and your colleagues feel unsafe in this present moment, and are also, in addition to that, whatever that aspect of fear that continues is, are you nervous about federal law enforcement coming to try to arrest you?
First off, I want to thank all of the local law enforcement officers who have responded. Yes, it happened. We are safe and we are undeterred about the important thing that we have to do. I'll tell you, we continue to experience threats and harassment. And so right now, when you make this allegation that Trump and federal authorities might be trying to make an arrest on us, I want everybody to remember Trump's afraid of the voters. He asked Governor Abbott to steal him 5 seats. He is now threatening federal arrest to come get us, force us back in our spot so that he can again do a power grab. None of this is American. All of this sounds like a dictator desperate to hold on to his power, and it should scare everybody in this country that we've reached this point. It is why, as Texas Democrats, we are reaching to the nation to say these are not normal times. Please step up and find the courage to let them know that they have gone way too far.
Will you and fellow Texas Democrats take extra precautions going forward?
I mean, we've taken precautions. We have known from the beginning, unfortunately. I think we all know the climate, the mood of where we are. I'm your former chief human trafficking prosecutor in Houston. I've had my life threatened plenty of times by criminals. I never thought it would be coming from the governor, the attorney general, or the president of the United States. And so this is a shocking moment, and I think it highlights just how far off the rails the Republican Party has gone, how un-American, how undemocratic they are, and why everybody needs to pay attention to what's happening in Texas. This is no longer just about Texas. This is about everybody maintaining their voice, their right to vote nationwide, and not rig the next election to benefit Trump.
Ann Johnson, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Brian Harrison joins me now. Brian, you were on our show Monday. I thank you for that time. You have time now. You just heard Ann Johnson, un-American, off the rails, anti-democratic. I give you, again, a forum to respond because I want to hear both sides of this argument.
Oh, my goodness. Complete and utter Nonsense. Okay, she doesn't care about doing the will of the voters of the people of Texas, and I know this firsthand. There's nothing perhaps more unpopular in Texas than COVID vaccine mandates. Okay, and she is one of the biggest pushers of COVID vaccine mandates to this day in the state of Texas, and and in fact been partly successful in all of the efforts to thwart our the desires to ban COVID vaccine mandates for students. So no, the idea that she cares about doing the will of the voters of Texas is farcical. This is absolutely in the best interest of the state of Texas. It's what my voters want. It's what voters across the state of Texas want. And listen, the facts could not be more 180 off as presented here. Texas is doing something that Democrats have to respond to. That's nonsense. Okay, blue state after blue state after blue state has been gerrymandering the heck out of their states for the past 10 years, and you don't have to take my word for it. The data proves it. 9 years ago, in the U.S. Congressional elections, Republicans had a one-seat popular vote advantage, but had a 45-seat advantage in the U.S. Congress, compared to just last year, where Republicans had expanded the popular vote to 3% nationwide, but only had a 3 or 4 seat margin in the U.S. House. Well, why is that? It's because the liberal Democrats in the liberal blue states, that all my liberal Democrat colleagues are hanging out and hiding, shirking their constitutional responsibilities to be here doing the people's business. Those blue states have gerrymandered almost all the Republican seats out of their states. And most of my colleagues are hanging out in Illinois, and it's impossible to overstate the hypocrisy of that, because if Governor Pritzker knows about one thing and only one thing, it's how to gerrymander a state. Republicans in Illinois make up 45% of the vote, but Illinois only gives Republicans 15% of the vote. So here's the reality, the dirty little secret that the Democrats, like my colleague there right before me, don't want America to know. They have absolutely no problem whatsoever with states redrawing their congressional maps to maximize partisan political advantage. They're just angry that Republican states are finally getting around to redrawing their maps so that we can fight as hard for the future as they have been.
Mr. Harrison, do you want federal law enforcement to go track them down in wherever jurisdiction they might be residing currently?
I actually called on the governor to do that days and days ago, and that's the flip side of this story. Quite frankly, everybody wants to focus on the Democrats fleeing the state to thwart our redistricting efforts, and yeah, that's a big story. But I think what's equally as big of a story is how much of an abject failure this is on the part of the elected Republican leadership in the state of Texas that could have done two things. If we had had truly bold Republican leadership here in Texas, number one, our so-called Republican Speaker of the Texas House, by the way, who my colleague Ann Johnson, a radical leftist extremist socialist Democrat, voted for. The Democrats elected our so-called Republican Speaker, and as part of payback, he released the Democrats last Wednesday when we had the maps in the system. We had the Democrats here. We had a quorum, and he released the Democrats to get a head start on their quorum break. So number one, if we had bolder Republican leadership in Texas, this quorum break never would have happened. And number two, if we had bolder, real Republican leadership in Texas, this quorum break would have been ended, because swift and severe punishment would have been meted out to these Democrats. Not one Democrat has been stripped of their seniority, their committee assignments, their budgets, their staff. Hell, we haven't even taken away their parking spots yet. So no, I continue to call on the leadership, the Republican leadership in the state of Texas, to do what the voters of Texas want. In addition to the redistricting, they want more than just bold rhetoric. They want bold action. They want these Democrats who are abdicating their constitutional responsibilities to be punished. Quite frankly, they want them arrested. They want them brought back so that we can get about doing the business of the voters of the great state of Texas.
Brian Harrison, I appreciate the time, sir. Thank you.
Always great to be with you.